Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. I've been asked several times my opinion between the CZ Bren 805 carbine versus the Scar 16. Which one I like better. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll give you straight up what my opinion is first, and then we'll just go over the guns from muzzle to butt, and we'll show the similarities. Now, the two rifles are very similar. For as far as function is concerned, they're virtually identical in many, many ways. I got to tell you, money for money, quality for quality, I think I'm going to go with the CZ. The CZ may be about a pound heavier. However, there's nothing that the Scar 16 can do that the CZ can't. And, it can be a difficult choice, but having enough time to spend with the two of them together, I really just found that I felt that many of the things on the CZ were a little bit nicer. I like the safety on the CZ a little bit better. The grip was a little bit better, I felt, on the CZ. The stock undoubtedly was a lot stronger. You had the same modularity. You had the same type of a gas block. They both have these weird muzzle brakes on them, which I'm about to replace both of those with a flash suppressor. So I guess a lot of you probably will be surprised to hear me say, the fact that I do like the CZ better. These are both my guns, so I own both of them. So, there's no bias here whatsoever. I will say of the Scars, I like the Scar 16 better than the Scar 17, to say the least. But the Bren quality, the Czechs did an absolute outstanding job on it, for as far as quality, machining, everything. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to start from the front to the back, and we're going to go over the differences and the similarities. Starting at the stocks, I definitely will give the CZ much higher quality stock. You do have slightly more positions. You got 6 positions as opposed to 4. The only thing that I actually liked a little bit better on the Scar was the fact that the cheek piece that goes up and down here remains at the front, where on the CZ it goes back with the stock. So I tend to like that a little bit better. But overall, the quality is it's a more durable stock on the CZ. Now for folding, you have a lever on the side. Close. Now the Scar will lock. The Scar locks in place, so you literally have to pull it out to engage it. Where this one here just cants right out. There's no actual lock on it. So that's going to be up to your opinion and what you like about that. Now, for as far as the lower receivers are concerned, or the polymer receivers are concerned, I can't tell you exactly what material these are made out of. The manufacturers aren't going to tell you that, but it appears to me is that the polymer used on the CZ seems to be a little bit more strong. It's a little bit more thick. I think it tends to be a little bit stronger than that of the Scar. The safety itself, the safety on the CZ, you have a much larger paddle on the top, which makes it absolutely simple to get to with gloved hands or with anything. Where these are not nearly as high profile to get to. Now, for as far as the magazine release, they're the same. Now the magazine well for the standard Stenag magazine, just as easy to get to, no problems whatsoever. You also have ambidextrous for both. Now, the one feature that the Scar does have that the CZ does not, both of them the bolts lock open on the last shot. However, there is no bolt release on the CZ. In order to once the bolt is locked open on the CZ, the only thing that you can do to release it is you have to release from the opposite side. Where the standard Scar, you do have an actual bolt release as well. So that's one of the differences. For as far as the trigger is concerned, now we get into complete night and day. The trigger on the Scar is not nearly as good as the CZ. The CZ probably has one of the finest military grade triggers I've ever seen for as far as feel. The Scar trigger is rather, it's a little heavy, and it's got a lot of take up to it. The CZ does not. I definitely have to give a complete kudos to the CZ for quality of the trigger. The upper receivers are very much identical in many ways. You have the aluminum one-piece upper receiver. You also have removable rail panels. This one, but the CZ actually comes with a straight, flat 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock rail here. This was replaced with K&S Precision 1913 rails on those two sides. And here you have removable rail segments also. As you can see on both of these, I have the Manta rail protector covers. Then we look at the front here. We have the gas blocks themselves. Very much similar in detail. You do have a suppress setting on the Scar, where you only have two settings on here. You do not have a suppress setting on here. However, through my research, I have seen many people who use the suppress without any issue whatsoever without it. Both the barrels are cold hammer forged, chrome plated. Both 1 7-inch twist. Front backup sight on the CZ will be mounted to the top rail as opposed to the gas block itself. Again, you're looking at about a pound difference. We're going to take these apart now and take a look at them in the inside. First, starting with the disassembly of the CZ. As opposed to having just one captive detent pin, you have two removable ones. This is actually the only real critique I have for this rifle, is the fact that it does not have captive retaining pins. So once we have that, pull the lower right off. Now for the Scar, it's just one pin. Forward. Okay, now we take a look at the inside here. As you can see from the trigger on the CZ on my right here, just a much nicer trigger. It's much better made. But I want you to pay particular attention to the safeties. Look how wide these paddles are. And again, you have a removable magazine well on here where I can swap that out with the Stadag magazine, other than the standard G36 type. It just appears as though the polymer on the CZ is just a little bit stronger. It is thicker, and it seems to be a little bit stronger. And, that goes a long ways, considering the Scar has had some issues regarding the durability of these lower trigger modules, as you would call them. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the stock assemblies. On the CZ, you have a button on the top here that you're going to be pushing in. Push in. Slide down. And then the Scar just slides down. Again, both stocks are telescopic as well as side folding. The Scar stock actually will lock in place in a closed position, where the CZ is more of a detent. Now, again, that's going to be up to you what you prefer. Some people prefer to have a lock position, so it doesn't come off, it doesn't open up unintentionally. Some don't care. Me, I can go either way. It doesn't really make much of a difference to me. But I will say the materials themselves appear to be much stronger on the CZ for the durability end of it. There's really no question about that. Now, the cocking handles themselves here, this is something that I replaced immediately on both of these guns once I got them. Both of the cocking handles were very, very small and short for both the Scar and the CZ. The one for the CZ came out of K&S Precision. It is an excellent charging handle, much easier for me to use. I prefer them over on the left-hand side here. And this one came from Kinetic Development Group for the Scar. Anytime you're looking to buy any kind of component for a Scar, Kinetic Research Development is your company. They make the best rails. They make the best, everything for them. For as far as the CZ is concerned, the only one who's really doing anything for it is K&S Precision. I do imagine as these guns get a little bit more popular, you'll start seeing more. But I will say, for as far as popularity, I waited let me see, October 5, 6. I waited 7 months to get to this one from a distributor. That's how long it took for these to come back in. Now, the Scar 16s and Scar 17s, I understand, are now unicorns. They're very, very hard to find. There are some more military contracts, I guess, that's being done by FN right now, which is taking up a lot of their, their capacity. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the bulk carrier groups out. Now on the CZ, we pull back to the rearmost position and lift out on the lever. Everything's still very, very tight. This gun's still new. Lift out, and the bolt comes out. Well, we do the exact same thing with the Scar. Okay, so looking at your bolts, well, obviously you can see there's a little bit of a difference in the operating mechanism. This one here, this is the operating rod on the Scar 16. For the CZ, you have a short stroke tappet. We'll take a look in a little bit in a few minutes on the operating system on that one, the piston itself. The Scar, you can physically take apart. Very easy to take apart. For routine maintenance. Now, the CZ does not come apart. You have to actually drive out a roll pin to remove the firing pin. So basically what CZ tells you is this is all you need to do. You wipe it down, you use some Q-tips, you use some brushes, that's pretty much it. Now, I will say I would like to be able to take this thing apart easier. But, that's how they designed it was so it wouldn't have to be taken apart on a regular basis. You can see the bolts look very, very similar to them. And even the cam pins have a very similar look to them. The firing pins, unfortunately, we just can't see. But as you can see, they both have a similar AR-18 or AR-180 type locking mechanism. They look very similar. Put this back together here. Now, inside of the Scar, I'm actually not going to do this because you have to have a tool to remove it. When you remove the gas block, you have a very short piston / operating rod here, and you have the gas valve. It's unfortunately it's very difficult to get to. There's a tool that actually slides in the rear. It pushes it forward. If you have a chance to take a look at my video on the Scar 16, Scar 17, you can see how that's done. On the CZ, it's a little bit easier. You push in the detent, you rotate it 360 degrees, and now you have your gas valve itself. As you can see, you have 2 gas ports right here, and you have radials that go all the way around for gas exhaust ports. Now, here you have your operating rod spring assembly for the CZ. Very simple, very robust. But again, you're looking at something very different on the CZ versus the Scar. The Scar, you're going to have just a very small piston and tail that impact the front. As I said, it's a little too difficult to get that out right now. I don't have the tool with me. Now, there's no suppress setting on the CZ, however, there is on the Scar, so I imagine that it wouldn't be too difficult for CZ to come out with a replacement gas valve that would have a suppress setting on it. I think that we're going to see a lot more coming out for the CZ in times to come. The gun has been very successful, being the fact that it is, probably about $1,000 less than the Scar. I think once you get some more reviews out there, every review I've even seen on the CZ, everybody loves it. I haven't seen anybody have anything really negative to say about it. So this is what you have for as far as the mechanics of it. And then when you look in the inside of the receivers, looking on the inside here, you can see the quality on both of these is incredible. Now, both of these will have a quick change barrel. Both of these will have barrels in 300 blackout. You'll be able to get shorter length barrels as well for if you want to SBR them, or if you're law enforcement military, you can get them in various lengths as well. But as you can see, the similarity to these two it's undeniable. And you know, I don't think when you look at the extra grand, I don't think you're getting an extra grand worth of benefits out of the SCAR over the CZ. Now we're going to reassemble here. Best way to do that is to insert the operating rod assembly into the gas cylinder itself. Now we basically have to push downward on the plunger. And I'm going to use a bullet. Just had a bullet. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you have the 5.56 NATO on the top here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to install the bolt carrier group. And before we put the bolt carrier group in, we need to install the cocking handle. Now we do have a block in the back here. We want to make sure that's in the proper position. Okay, so now we're going to take the stock, push the button in, now we're going to take the receiver, or 2 pins, and now we have these scars. It's easy, back together. SCAR is just as easy. Once you get the bolt halfway in, we got to put in the cocking handle. Slide the stock on. And there you have it. So as you can see, both the similarities, I mean, are undeniable. You know, I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me. You're going to like the SCAR better, you know, which is fine. You know, when we look at these things from the mechanical standpoints and the features that they have, they're very, very similar. But you know, if there was one feature that stood out the most between the two rifles, is the trigger. And I'm not talking about installing a Super SCAR trigger from Geisley in this thing either. I'm talking about with the triggers that come with them. The CZ probably has one of the finest military triggers I've ever seen in my life. And you would probably pay an extra, you know, $400 to buy a Geisley for this one to get the same kind of a trigger pull. So yeah, you're looking at $1,000 more. Then if you want a similar trigger, you're going to be spending another $300-400 for a Geisley Super SCAR trigger. The barrels are completely equal. Hammer forged chrome-plated barrels. Both of them have muzzle brakes on them. They have this. They have a similar one-piece upper receiver. They both have removable lower receivers, and I do believe that the polymer used in the CZ is a little bit stronger than that of the Scar. The stocks themselves, I definitely think that the CZ is a higher quality stock. There are other options for stocks for these. They're going to cost you, again, an additional $300-400. So probably to get one that's going to be comparable to that one, you're looking at probably the Connect Development Group, the ACR stock, which is going to run you about $400. Now, the pistol grips, the Scar will take any pistol grip that an AR will. CZ will not. However, I will be ordering very soon there's another insert that goes in the back here for those of us with size Sasquatch hands. It'll make it larger. The feel of this grip is very, very good. It just is a little bit narrow the way that it comes. But this is interchangeable, so we can change that out. For as far as firing both of these side by side, there really is not a difference in accuracy that I would find. Using the same ammunition, same ranges, the accuracy, these things they're level playing field. I can't say one's better than the other. But when it comes down to somebody looking to spend their hard-earned money on one of these rifles, you got to look at what you're going to be getting for the cost. And I think by a long shot, the CZ is a better investment. Thank you for watching.